Well, such a lovely evening. Thought we'd have a little spin out on the Himalayan and go and meet up one of my friends, Rory, who I rode to France with last year, and just go out for a little bimble round. I don't think we got any plan of where we're going to go. We're just heading out and enjoy the lovely sunny weather and a bit of time out self-isolating on the bikes. So from the videos that I shot while I was in France, the keen-eyed will notice that I've got the little screen extender on the front, and it's been on there for quite some time now, and it does make a noticeable difference to the airflow. A bit less buffeting, you know, so cuts down the noise a bit. I'm kind of in two minds about whether it's going to stay on there or not yet. Simply because we'll see as we get, if we get any speed up a bit later on, it does make the screen wobble about a fairish old bit. It seems to make it much more susceptible to engine vibration as well when it's under load. But so it's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really, whether I'm going to keep it on there or not. It definitely does improve the buffeting, but I'm not sure what it will do for the sort of life of the screen. The way it makes it kind of shake, there it goes, and vibrate. And the other issue, of course, I got is with where I've got the GoPro mounted on the chin of my crash helmet. I'm not sure whether it's going to kind of put that deflector right in the line of sight of the camera. So this video is going to be a bit of an experiment to see if it really does get in the way of the view of the camera. If it does, then it will probably come off, which in a way is a good thing, because it means that I haven't invested in an extra long screen from Cooper B or anyone like that, and then suddenly found out that it just gets in the way of the camera, and I either have to cut it down or take it off again. So we'll just see how it goes for the video tonight, and whether it makes a great deal of difference to what you can see on the camera facing forward. So the other addition that I've got since I've been to France is a second GoPro. Now I'm running fairly old GoPro 3 Plus black editions, simply because you can pick them up quite cheap. I bought both of these from CEX, and they came with a 2-year warranty, so you know, you can't really go wrong. There's not really any moving parts with them. So if they kind of work, their chances are they're going to keep working. So far they've been brilliant, and they're quite an improvement over what I had before, which was just a cheap SJ Cam 4000 clone, which I had mounted on the dash, on the brake master cylinder there. So now I've got the GoPros. The one on the crash helmet is I'm using the wireless remote. I'm not sure if it's in the field of view, but it's down there on the handlebars lip, which is a fairly decent place to put it. I have got a remote for this one as well, but while it's sat there on the master cylinder, it's just as easy to press the buttons on it manually. But you know, when I've got the panniers on, I've got mounts on the back so I can put the cameras on facing backwards, so it'll be handy to have a remote for that up here on the handlebars. Well, it really is a glorious evening tonight. Absolutely ideal riding weather. I don't know what the temperature is, but I guess it's around 24, 25, something like that. High 60s, low 70s in all real money. Oh, see if we can get a view of that while I'm stood up. No, hedge is a bit grown up. Well, that's the view out towards Shaftesbury. Here we go, that's better. So it's quite spectacular. So the other thing I've changed, or have I changed on the bike since I went to France, I've fitted a 16-tooth front sprocket, and it does seem to make the cruising speed much more relaxed. It hasn't made it any faster, because the bike, you know, it's still, it's just, I don't think the engine characteristics have got it. But it definitely makes things more relaxed. You know, you can zip along the dual carriageways at 65, 70 now, and it doesn't feel like the engine's rattling its head off. It's definitely an improvement, and it kind of makes you think it would have been good if the bike shipped with a 6-speed box, so you could have kept the original kind of ratios and had a 6-speed overdrive. But hey, everything's a compromise. So the only other development there's been really with the bike, it's been in for its brake caliper recall, and I don't know what they did, other than didn't reroute the brake pipe through the little bracket on the front forks and left all the clips off for the ABS sensor. But the brakes are definitely more responsive, but I don't really know what they actually did to it. It doesn't look like they've replaced the calipers. I don't know if they fitted new pistons or not, I don't know. The chap who was, you know, the workshop controller there was not available when I picked the bike up, but it has got to go back for another warranty job. The catalytic converter's rattling in the downpipe. They've submitted the warranty claim already, and Royal Enfield have accepted it, so I'm just waiting for the part to come in, and they say they can do it while I wait. If I can go up and sort of leave it for half an hour while it cools down, and then they'll crack on and change it while I'm there, so that's good. But other than that, you know, the trials and tribulations I've had with this have been pretty few and far between. I've got the usual compass points wherever it wants to go, but you know, I've given up on that. I had a bit of a weep from one of the little 10mm or M6 cylinder head bolts, but that was, you know, done under warranty, no problem at the first service or second service, I can't remember now. Other than that, it's the brake recall, which I was kind of on top of anyway, because I'd stripped all the calipers, or certainly as far as the, you know, the sliding mounts, and cleaned and lubricated all that. You know, and this exhaust, which I have to say, if it was mine, the cap would be cut out and a sleeve, or, you know, a piece welded in, which I'm kind of half tempted to do. I've asked the guys at the garage when it goes in for the warranty replacement whether I can have the old pipe. So apparently they've got to keep it for a few months in case RE want it back. But he said if it gets to the end of the, you know, the period they have to keep it for, and they haven't said they want it, then I can have it. So might be a bit of a homemade performance downpipe in the offing, because the bike's about to come out of warranty. So and I'm not planning on, you know, getting rid of it. I'm going to keep it. It's a bit of a keeper, I think, and I think once we get there I'll be looking at fitting a booster plug and just seeing if we can squeeze a little bit more out of it, just to make it a bit happier on the dual carriageways. Now I've got the 16 tooth gearing, if I can, it kind of gives you the speed that you want, but I just need you know, not much of an increase in power, you know, just so that it'll pull it a bit better up and down hills, that's all. Anyway, we're almost at the meeting point now, so I'll probably have to sign off in a second, and then we'll decide where we're going, and we'll rejoin the action. So I've just met up with Rory, and he's on his F650, which you might pick up the noise from as we get going a bit. He's fitted a new, I think it's a full system to it, and he's got a booster plug fitted to it as well. Apparently some chap on the F650 owners forum has, I don't know if he reversed engineered or what he did, or designed his own, but he's come up with a very cheap version of the booster plug that you can get for the Himalayan, and about £100 cheaper than the booster plug for the Himalayan. So and he really raves about it. He said it's transformed the way the bike runs and the power and everything. So I'm quite taken with the idea of getting a booster plug or a Powertronic or something for this, and see how we get on. To Shaftesbury now, which is you know, a fairly ancient market town in North Dorset, if anyone's watching this and doesn't know the area. And like most of the places it seems around this area, there's a massive building programme, new houses and influx of people into the area, and as usual none of the infrastructure seems to be improving to match. That's just my old bloke's whinge. Anyway, it's lovely sunny weather and we're on two wheels. What more could you ask for? So I don't know if the camera's picking that up or just a glare from the sun, but you know, the view over there from Shaftesbury towards Gillingham, you know, looking over the Blackmore Vale, it's English countryside at its best. So that's just pulling out of there in top. So you know, the bike is still really rideable with the 16-tooth sprocket, and as I say, for the kind of riding I do, it makes it so much more relaxed. Although everyone will be screaming sacrilege, you know, this thing's, I don't think it has ever been off-road, and I've got no, you know, I'm not an adventure motorcyclist. I just got no interest in, you know, thrashing through the Bondi with it. I bought the bike because it's, you know, a little flipping donkey. And it does everything I need it to for commuting, a bit of, you know, travelling on it. It's frugal on fuel. It's cheap to run and insure. This is where I'm going to struggle because I just don't have the power. Although that 16-tooth sprocket gives you a few more legs in fourth gear. And you know, at 60 mile an hour, it's dropped the revs by about 500 or so, I would guess, something around there, and it just makes it so much more relaxed. I don't think it hasn't made any real difference to the fuel consumption or anything like that, not that I've noticed anyway. I've only put a few tanks through it, and I generally don't tend to run it down to the F trip anyway. So the bike, I've had it, as I say, it's just about to go out of warranty, so it's coming up 2 years old. I've not really had that much go wrong with it at all. It's been as reliable as the day is long. I'm still running the original tyres, the original brake pads, original chain and rear sprocket, but obviously I've got the 16 tooth on the front. It's had that minor oil weep and this catalytic converter rattling, but it's been as reliable as the day is long, touch wood, and it's just a great little package for the money that it costs. I don't think you can go far wrong. Oh, it's a helicopter whizzing over. It's like Her Majesty's finest. Fresh new tarmac. Makes a change from all the potholes. As far as consumables go, it's been fitted an iridium spark plug and it's oils and filters. Now I'm still running the original tyres. The rear tyre, it's funny actually, it looks worse than it is. I was really concerned that I was going to have to change it quite soon, so I got the tread depth gauge out. When I checked it, it still had 3.5 mil, so it's got to stay on there a bit longer. Handling wise, it doesn't seem to have made a huge sort of difference. Still feels planted and sure-footed, so it can stay on there. And if I could get hold of one at decent money, I would have another MT60 Pirelli to match the front and probably see that out. But when I can get a Mitas, I think it's an E08, but it's the same as Rory's running on that F650 in front. They're sort of £20 to £25 cheaper, which isn't to be sniffed at. So I'm afraid it's probably going to be a Mitas tyre when we eventually do have to go for a replacement, and I'm hoping this one will kind of see out this riding season, and it's a job to do over the winter. And while I've got the wheel out, I expect the swinging arm will come out, and the rear shock linkage and everything else to make sure all that's greased up, and do a bit of future proofing. And while I'm there, I may even pop the headstock and have a look at the bearings there. It was well greased from the factory when it came, but whether that was superficial that had been added, kind of on the outside rather than on assembly, I don't know. And from this point on, I think I'm going to start doing my own maintenance, because it's so much cheaper, and I begrudge paying people for doing jobs that I can do myself. And that was another attraction for this bike, of course. It's the ease of maintenance. It's kind of one of those machines that's been spoiled by having ABS and fuel injection. It would have been nice to have just normal brakes and carburettor one, a bit like the model they get in Australia, or they used to. I don't know if they still do. But although, having said that, I've had no trouble with the fuel injection, and it's really well mapped. There are no real flat spots. It pulls cleanly from low revs, and it really seems to match the characteristics of the bike. It's just, if you ever get that problem where it goes wrong, you're going to be stuck to try and diagnose it yourself. Although, handy tip, the onboard diagnostic system, unbelievably, it does have one, is OBD2. So the generic sort of OBD2 readers, wireless ones that you can buy on eBay. I think they're called EMP3, something like that. I'll have to double check, and I'll put something on the video. But if you use a KTM adapter which fits the diagnostic plug on the Himalayan, and then that's got an OBD2 plug on the other end, you can plug your adapter in and read fault codes and look at all the live data. So, you know, maybe you're not completely stuck with the diagnostics, certainly as far as the engine management goes, but it's always more difficult and generally more expensive than a carburettor. So, give them a few legs down here, and this is where you notice the difference with the 16-tooth sprocket when you get up to, you know, sort of 60-70 miles an hour, and the engine's just so much happier and feels less thrashy.